Ever since Josh Polson, served as a soldier in the military, my life has been anything but ordinary. But nothing could have prepared me for the horrifying experiences that would unfold after my transfer from Nashville, Tennessee to New Orleans, Louisiana. The journey started ordinarily enough. My wife, Elena, and our 2 kids, Mike and Jane, and our beloved cat, Sandra, were all eagerly anticipating the new chapter in our lives. I remember feeling an intense mix of excitement and trepidation. I was ready for a new adventure, and so was my family. One day into our trip, we noticed a lone figure on the side of the road. An old man, gaunt and weather-beaten, with clothes that looked as though they hadn't been changed for weeks. Something about him caught our attention, and we felt a strange compulsion to offer him a ride to our destination. As it turned out, he was heading the same way. His name was Howard, and he was a quiet fellow. A few probing questions about his background only elicited cryptic responses. He seemed harmless enough, though there was a distant, haunted look in his eyes that made me uneasy. But we continued our journey, and soon New Orleans's distinct architecture began to fill the horizon. Our new home was an old plantation house on the outskirts of the city, close to my new military camp. The moment we pulled into the driveway, I felt an inexplicable chill run down my spine. I looked around to see if the family felt it too, but they were already scrambling out of the car, drawn to the grandeur and the mystery of our new abode. I turned around to say goodbye to Howard, but he had vanished. We dismissed his abrupt departure, attributing it to his peculiar nature, and moved into our new home. The days that followed were filled with settling down and exploring our surroundings. The kids found the place fascinating, and Sandra seemed to enjoy the sprawling grounds. One night, several days after we had settled in, Elaine and I were startled awake by an ominous presence. At the foot of our bed stood Howard, the old man from the road. But he seemed different, darker. His eyes glowed an unnatural shade of yellow, and an eerie grin was spread across his face. His voice echoed through the silence. "You've made a grave mistake, Polson." Just as abruptly as he appeared, he was gone, leaving behind an echo of his warning. Elena and I were paralyzed with fear, clinging to each other in the dark, while Sandra hissed at the empty space Howard had just occupied. Whatever semblance of peace we'd had was shattered, and we were left to confront the terrifying reality of our new life in New Orleans. The rest of the night was spent in a tense silence, the air thick with anticipation and fear. Each creak of the house felt like a premonition. We were living in a nightmare, our idyllic life turned upside down, left to wonder what the morning would bring. We tried to console ourselves, assuring each other that it was a shared nightmare brought on by the stress of the move. Yet the lingering sense of dread couldn't be shaken off. And though we had no idea what Howard's warning meant, one thing was certain. We were not alone in this house, and we were far from safe. As I watched the dawn break, I found myself praying for the safety of my family. I had faced many perils during my time in the military, but this was an enemy I didn't understand, one I couldn't fight with conventional weapons. This was a battle against the unknown, against forces that defied logic and reason, and in that moment, I knew our lives would never be the same again. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the curtains, we held each other close, united in our fear and uncertainty. We vowed to protect our children and Sandra, no matter what lay ahead. And with that vow, we braced ourselves for the chilling mysteries and horrors that our new home would undoubtedly unveil. And so it began, our life in New Orleans, a journey into the unknown, a relentless battle against unseen forces. This is not a story for the faint-hearted. This is a story of terror, suspense, and the resolve of a family facing unimaginable horrors. Our fight has only just begun. As Howard's chilling words echoed in our heads, we knew the nightmare was far from over. The old man was right. We'd made a grave mistake. But what was it? And what was the price we would have to pay? Little did we know these questions were the beginning of our haunting tale. Only time would reveal the terrifying truth hidden within our new home.